Imagine if I did the whole review like this. Nah, I can't see shit out of this. Hello there, everyone. Yes, hello there, everyone. It's Liam Caddleston here, and I'm gonna be doing a Spider-Man Brand New Day spoiler-free review. I'm gonna be dropping a spoiler thoughts section review that will go more in depth, of course, and will be absolutely longer because I'm probably gonna do this like 10, 12, 15 minutes or whatever, just because I've got stuff to do today, and B, I really want to get into the juicy details of Brand New Day, but that is not for this video. This is going to be a safe and secure section of my thoughts of Brand New Day. If you know me, you'll know. Massive Spider-Man fan. So, of course, this movie was the most anticipated movie of 2026 for me. Yes, even more then Avengers Doomsday, because I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. The other day, I went to see A Brand New Day, and I had high expectations when it came to this movie. At first, when details started to emerge, I wasn't sure about how they were going to do things, because you learn about certain characters returning, like Scorpion. For example, obviously, he appears in a trailer. And there were other characters, some that are completely, I'd say, not well known, I guess. But the trailer started to roll out, and I had a little bit of hope. So I came into Brand New Day with high expectations, especially since No Way Home is my favorite Spider-Man movie. But did that get dethroned with Brand New Day? I can say for certain, it's been a couple of days since I saw Brand New Day, so things have kind of settled down in my mind. And I'm still conflicted over which movie I do prefer, because my heart is saying that No Way Home is still my favorite movie, with everything that happened in that movie with Andrew and Tobey's, like, I grew up watching the Tobey films and then obviously the Andrew films, and it was just beautiful, as well as the villains, especially with what they did with certain travesties, and it's an amazing follow-up in terms of the cliffhanger of Far From Home. So my heart is saying that, but this is, in my opinion, the most Spider-Man coded movie ever. I don't think I've felt the way that they've done a Spider-Man character as well done, well executed in any movie, in any, and I'll include the animated stuff as well, but this just felt so Spider-Man coded that, you know, even a 2.5 hour runtime doesn't feel enough. I want more, so much, because I was just eating this movie up. So I feel like in terms of characterization, this is the best they've done to a Spider-Man character. The focus on what they've done with his character is just well done, because obviously there is a huge amount of focus when it comes to Spider-Man. Peter is putting all of his eggs in the Spider-Man basket without the idea of wanting to focus on himself, really. And the way they showcase that is just well done in terms of, especially personality-wise, you will see a lot of, I'd say, energy. When it comes to him as Spider-Man, there is a lot more focus, there is a lot more upbeatness, I would even say, when it comes to him as Spider-Man. But whenever you see Tom Holland's face, whenever he goes into Peter Parker mode, there is a bit of an opposite end of things when it comes to the loneliness, the misery, especially being in a world where he is all alone because of the loss of Aunt May, because MJ and Ned don't even know who he is anymore. And there is that complete desolation, and yeah, it's really well done in terms of that presence. It's just as well the way that they've written things as well, like, especially obviously you see the trailers about Peter's and his growing abilities, with his organic webbing, with the black eyes, of course. And it's not just that is the focus, but it's also the mental state of things. Obviously, like I said, he's putting so much focus fighting crime full-time as Spider-Man, where Peter Parker takes a bit of a back seat, and the way they explore both worlds is just well done. Tom Holland, this is his best performance, I feel like, as, both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. But in terms of him as in a Spider-Man movie, I think this is his best performance to date. There is a lot of maturity around him. And again, I talk about the differences in terms of his personality as one alter ego to another. It's just well done. There is a lot of pain, obviously, following the events of No Way Home. And it's just really, really well done. Obviously, you saw little glances of him in the trailers when it comes to him checking up on MJ and Ned, who obviously don't remember him. And there is a lot of that sadness. But obviously, without going into spoilers on other areas of the movie, there are moments where it can get very, very emotional. Where it's just jaw-droppingly good. There are a lot of emotions that Tom taps into in this movie, and it's just really, really well executed. I think he also had a little bit of input when it comes to the development of Brand New Day, and I'm so glad that he did have a bunch of development when it comes to how this movie would pan out, because again, I do feel like this is the most Spider-Man coded movie, so there's a lot of care going into what makes this a delicious meal, almost, really. It's just so well done, and Tom Holland just really has matured when it comes to, I mean, when you follow his previous iterations, there is a learning curve when it comes to his character. Even, of course, No Way Home is a little bit of a learning curve, and now he is all on his own. It's living with the fallout of what happened with No Way Home, and it's him dealing with that great power and great responsibility. He does feel like it does feel like we have truly shifted from that kind of teenage aspect to a more adult version of Spider-Man, and that is definitely portrayed with Tom's performance, in my opinion. I do also want to say that, can we have, for the rest of time, Destin Daniel Cretton directing these movies? Because holy dang, you got to see, again, little glimpses in the trailers, but just absorbing everything in that 2.5 hours. I want him to do more Spider-Man movies. He is a clear fan of making Spider-Man feel alive as well, like in terms of like the suit, in terms of like seeing the little details, in terms of seeing him actually speak and whatnot. The action sequences, the web swing, it just feels like he is immersing us into the Spider-Man world. It's just really, really well done. And I do want him to do a lot more when it comes to Spider-Man movies, because I say about the fact that this movie does feel like the most Spider-Man coded. I just feel like with the way that he directed things, he's brought him to life like no other director has brought him to life before. And there is such a human element when it comes to this movie. Even if you're dealing with your likes of the Hulk, of course, and Spider-Man, this movie has just feels so human. And of course, with this being a street level movie, which is just great because we're not dealing with the multiverse. Not every movie has to deal with the multiverse. It just feels so good. It just feels so executed. And again, I don't think Spider-Man has felt more like Spider-Man than ever before. And the direction definitely does bring Spider-Man to life into a new, beautiful way. Of course, there was a lot of talk about Sadie Sink's appearance when it comes to her being in this movie. Now, obviously, I'm not going to say who she is. but I will say she was an absolute standout. Whatever her identity is, she just kills it when it comes to her story and performance. And it's just, there are devastating times when it comes to her character, but she's also a very, very intriguing character. So yeah, it's just really, really well done in terms of how she's able to portray this very, very interesting character. I think her and Tom are probably my favorite portrayals, just with the way, like I said, that Tom's able to handle both, or try to jostle with both worlds, should I say, with Sadie and her performance as Sansa. Yeah, it was just really, really well done, and I absolutely really adored her character so much. It's the same with when it comes to MJ and Ned. Now, obviously, they're not going to be little potato stuff when it comes to a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie because of their involvement. No, even if they do not remember who Spider-Man is anymore in terms of Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Peter's in this world where he wants to tell MJ and Ned the truth, as evident by the ending of No Way Home, of course. And of course, he does follow their journeys, as you see with the Instagram posts and whatnot, because there are some really, really well done performances, especially from Zendaya. I mean, I guess this is a water wet scenario because of the fact that, you know, it's like Tom and Zendaya are like a married couple, aren't they? But there are some really, really well done. And it's going to be obviously so difficult to kind of revert back to factory settings, really, in terms of playing this character in regards to interacting with Peter Parker, because obviously from movie 2, it's factory settings all over again. So it is really, really well done in terms of how both MJ and Ned portray that obliviousness. Of course, there are returning characters, not just in terms of the, I guess, Spider-Man alumni, but also in terms of the Incredible Hulk, for example. And there are a couple of name drops which I was not expecting coming into this movie. It feels like they have given Hulk new life. Now, obviously, this is going to be a Spider-Man focused movie, and the inclusion of Hulk is, some might think, it's just like with Iron Man, it's just like it was Strange. But of course, there is a lot of importance when it comes to Strange's involvement in No Way Home, as it is with Hulk in Brand New Day, especially with, obviously, the other guy, versus Peter's growing abilities. It's just really, really great to give this new jolt of life when it comes to the Incredible Hulk, because of the fact that not only does he just look good in terms of the cinematography, but it just feels like they have injected new life, because he was like a character in previous appearances, but now he just there is a bit more of an alive presence when it comes to his character. So they really did a great job in terms of bringing Hulk to life. Other returning characters include the Punisher as well. John and Tom are just amazing, completely amazing when it comes to their interactions. Now, again, trailers already showcase that oh, this is going to be fun, but again, you've really that's just a little appetizer to what you will see in the movie. There are some moving moments when it comes to Frank and Peter's stories, and obviously, if you followed Punisher's story, you'll know that he's got some baggage of his own, including lost people who he has lost. Obviously, it's not going to be the same as Peter when it comes to, you know, MJ and Ned, for example, but they are both fighting this lonely road, aren't they? Like I said, it's not really a spoiler if you've known Frank's journey, but there are some moving moments. The interactions are just amazing. They are fun. You just love it. But they can also be very, very heartwarming as well. So the action sequences are just amazing, especially when it comes to Peter versus the Hand. And yeah, there are quite a lot of sequences that are just really, really well done in terms of action. But of course, that was like a little bit of a talking point in the trailer itself. The interactions with the Hulk are just really, really jaw-droppingly good. I know there were bits of inspiration when it comes to the Insomniac games, and it translates well from video game to live action. As well as talking about translations, there are certain moments like that did appear in the trailer that do adapt from the comic book, and it's just well done. There are a few others which do go into spoiler terrain, but I clocked in on and I'm like, holy dang. That's just the magic of how, you know, Destin's like the way that he built this movie. It's just immaculate. It's just well done. Obviously, this movie is not going to be perfect. The first act of the movie takes a little bit of time to get the wheels going, but after that, I don't feel like the train stops whatsoever. We don't hold the brakes. It is just a thrill from that point on. And I thought certain other characters would have made a bit of a bigger impact, of course. There were, as the trailer suggested, there were going to be a plethora of villains. And I guess some you kind of you did kind of expect, but I felt there were certain characters that I would have seen a little bit more of. Part of me feels like we might be setting these characters up for future events, but I don't think it takes away from the quality of the movie whatsoever, because this is a movie about Peter Parker as duh as it sounds. This is a movie about Peter Parker being Spider-Man, but of course I say that as a statement where Peter's putting all of his eggs in the Spider-Man basket and is trying to focus a lot more on that rather than the Peter Parker stuff. So, yeah. But it's a movie that I, again, feel so conflicted about, because there is a part of me that's like, No Way Home, and then Brand New Day. But at the same time, I feel like putting them on an even terrain, because I will love No Way Home till the day I die. I'll rewatch it and feel like it'll be like Sonic 3, where I'll rewatch that. Never tire of it. Not to say that I would ever tire of Brand New Day, but the enjoyability I have to No Way Home and the enjoyability to Brand New Day just differs, where I do feel like this is the most Spider-Man coded movie of all time. This is Tom Holland's best portrayal as Spider-Man, as Peter Parker. The characters like Hulk, like Punisher, they're not just like 2-second appearances where, okay, we avoid the whole debacle with Matt Murdock showing up in No Way Home. They actually get some depth to them, and it doesn't feel shoehorned whatsoever. Because I know a few people felt like that was going to be the case with the Hulk, for example. Definitely not. It was really relevant and it was really well done. It's easily in my top 3 of live-action Spider-Man movies. Easily. To the point where it's tied to No Way Home in my opinion. So, and there were critics who were giving this a 5 out of 10. Like, how? In my mind, I could not see that being a 5 out of 10. It gets to the point, if Brand New Day is a 5 out of 10, for example, I am not autistic and I'm not pansexual. If Brand New Day is a 5 out of 10, yeah. No, this is, if anything, a 9 out of 10 for me. 9.5, I would even say. Like I said, the only things that really did seem to stick out for me was, like I said, the first act of the movie took a little bit of time to get going, but ever since then, full steam ahead. And I felt like when it came to the adversary department, there could have been a couple of more moments from certain characters, but aside from that, banger. Absolute cinema. Yeah, it was a joy. So if you guys want to check out my spoiler talk when it comes to No Way Home, then be sure to, I guess, click the video on my there. Yeah, we will be going full beans, full spoilers, so Obviously, don't check it out if you haven't seen the movie, because we will be going into the juicy details. But yeah, with that said, I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until the next time, toodles!